Hi.
Thanks for having us.
This is the English premiere of Frankenstein's Army.
I knew the title before I knew the story. It leaked out over the internet, and I suddenly got all those reactions about Frankenstein's Army. What is this? Is this the new worst case scenario or whatever? And I thought, shit, you know, I really need to do something with this.
Tell us about the design of all these crazy monsters and things. Where did all that come from?
They come all from out of my head.
Some of them are really, really frightening, like Mosquito Man with the drill coming from the mouth. Like when he was coming out on the stills, we were scared for real. There was no acting. They were just like, run for your life.
It's about 2.5, 3 meters tall.
Yeah.
You know, it's got this pretty real-looking drill coming out of his nozzle, and when it works, you don't want to come close.
I was really surrounded by my own monsters, and I thought, Richard, why do you work so hard to get into this miserable position, surrounded by your own demons? Why? What is wrong with you?
My favorite is the little guy with the legs, the walking trash bin. It's like R2-D2 from hell. So.
It's a nightmare to realize a dream. It really is. But it's, when I look back, it's one of the highlights of my life.
This theater is massive. Justin Bieber, eat your heart out. Can I just ask you one favor? It will be awesome if you just pretend you are zombies. Okay, do just like and action.
Clophill it's a real place, isn't it?
Clophill is a village in Bedfordshire, close to where I grew up. And it's got this ruined church on top of a hill that's it's been there for centuries. In March 1963, a group of Aleister Crowley-esque followers went up there and performed what people thought was a black mass at the time. They desecrated a load of graves, sacrificed a cockerel, and it was discovered by some kids the next day, and it was this sort of 7-day wonder in the press. I went out there as a kid, and what I knew back then was just these rumours about witchcraft. But no, it's a fascinating place.
Those kind of blurred lines between fact and fiction, it kind of very much feeds into your film.
We wanted to sort of try and make it as realistic as possible, not to really employ actors in the film, but literally it's just real people reacting to real things going on. I think when people watch it, they'll probably think, nah, that wasn't real, but there was stuff. There was all the stuff with the security guards you see in the film. They weren't on the shoot to be in the film. They were on the shoot to be doing security, but stuff was happening and they were sort of reacting to things, seeing sort of shadows and hearing footsteps and stuff. So I thought, okay, we've got to get this on camera. And these were guys who sort of do bodyguard work, security at football matches. When it came to sort of Clophill and the supernatural, they didn't quite know how to react.
You weren't scared at any point?
To be honest, I was more focused on the camera work, so making sure that was all done. So I didn't really have time to be scared.
Flynn is kind of the bad seed of the bunch. He's the real troublemaker. He's the reason that the movie exists. I pick a fight with Luke Evans' character, and that causes something really bad to happen, and then it becomes a big revenge film where he tries to kind of take out my crew one by one, and it ends up being between him and I at the very end. Flynn doesn't have a moral compass, but he does believe that what he's doing will get him what he wants. And so that's how I approached it, because I needed to have something to continue to drive me forward. And as long as what Flynn wanted, if he could do something to get what he wanted, he would do it. And that's what Flynn was all about.
Is there anyone with like a faulty toe?
This is Evan Katz, director of Cheap Thrills, by the way. And this is what it's looked like for oh shit.
Now listen, Evan, what's this E.L. Katz stuff? I mean, E.L. Evan, what is it?
When I first joined the union after doing Autopsy, I was told that I couldn't have the same guild name as another person. Evan Katz is the very successful creator of 24, I fucking EL cats.
Like El Cats, I thought was quite
El
good.
Cats.
El Cats.
El Gato. That's my name from now on. I'm changing it.
It was originally called Money for Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you changed it to Cheap Thrills.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Michael Haneke American style.
First off, Michael Haneke is an incredible filmmaker that I should never be uttered in the same sentence with. Like, I always compare myself more to maybe Twitter Haneke. You know, I learned a lot from Funny Games because how he presented violence and casual cruelty and evil in that sort of kind of naturalistic way, and it felt really disarming. But I think one of my biggest inspirations for the actual filming of it was like old Tobe Hooper or even later Friedkin, because there's a sense of humor, so people are laughing while really horrible things are going on. That was always interesting to me, to play with tone.
One of the reviews which I wish I'd read was Indecent Proposal Meets Jackass. What
Yeah.
would you do to do really insane things?
I've done stupid stuff for money. I've had really bad jobs. Me and my buddy at one point got like hired to smuggle an immigrant out of Mexico into the States for a certain amount of money because he worked for a car lot. The worst thing, perhaps the worst decision, they had these magazine traveling salesmen. You go door to door, you sell magazine subscriptions. Seems normal enough, but they're like gypsy cults. And they travel around the States. They try to make sure that people don't contact their family. They're constantly getting drunk and putting their money into like drugs and stuff. And I actually left in the middle of the night. I tried to be convinced to stay while one of the heads of the group kept on giving me booze and saying, hey, it's cool, man. You're going to make your whole life. You get to see the world. Yeah, I definitely understand bad decisions.
Running around in Wales in a threadbare outfit, pouring rain, slippy hills, wielding my sword. That's kind of all the method acting I needed to think, hang a sec, I feel like a Viking.
The park, whatever.
The Snowdonia.
Snowdonia.
Yeah.
We had to drive along a very skinny little ledge on a golf cart, and that was an exciting setup from the beginning for the day, because you knew you were going to be there for the rest of the time. At one point, a cloud actually did descend to our level, and at that point was when Saxon horses came to attack us. And so we were swooping big double-handed broadswords in what was essentially zero visibility.
Once or twice, I touched Clive Standon's hammer.
The essential ingredients of a human body is your sex and survival.
We were fighting, me and Clive, in the lawn in Wales, and I had my sword and he had his hammer. Once or twice I accidentally brushed it.
But
Did the touching have to be cut out?
My bits are, his aren't.
It's very difficult to cut mine out.
It was quite awkward, really, because, you know, I should imagine, right?
Right, yeah.
You don't touch another Viking's weapon.
So we were just, touching ourselves and trying to kill people.
So, in answer to your question, I don't know what I'm talking about.
This here is the legendary, truly awesome Bobcat Goldthwait.
Well,
who, in my opinion, has now raised the bar on found footage movies.
Wow. Thank you very much. The movie's Willow Creek. It is a POV or found footage movie about Sasquatch, a Bigfoot movie. I always do find it weird in found footage movies who edited the movie, like who found it and said, hey, I'm sorry your daughter got raped to death, but if we recut this and add some music, I think it'd be a hit. She would have wanted it that way.
That's one thing that always cracks me and my wife up when we're watching a found footage movie. And there's a score.
Yeah. The camera should pan over, and there's some guy with a cello. Actually, it'd be a guy with a synth. It sounds really pretentious, but silence makes a noise in a weird way. Like when she yells, you hear this echo that's just real, and you can hear a river and all that stuff, and it really does feel you're out in the woods because you really were out in the woods.
It's funny. I was out in those woods, and we saw mountain lions, and the possibility of me being mauled by a bobcat, the irony of that wasn't lost on me. I'm sure it would be a good headline, Bobcat killed by bobcat.
So it's really remote, and the first take, there's that take, it's like 19 minutes long. The first take of that, both he and Alexi just started crying. I was a little flipped out. Like, I'll name drop, Terry Gilliam just went to the screening and he goes, were you concerned about hitting them in the head when you were throwing rocks? And I was like, yeah, why they do that? You know,
How big were the rocks? Were they?
I was throwing some good sized rocks. I figured like the rock hits the tent throws it back. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the safest.
So what about Bigfoot conventions? You must have invested some time in that.
I've had a couple what I call believer screenings, and they really like the movie. It's really sweet. The guy will stand up. After the Paris and Gimlin footage, Mr. Goldthwait, this is the best Bigfoot movie ever made.